Hey, welcome to the Fabric of Culture podcast, episode 14, where I interview different creatives and get insights on, how they got started and how you can apply that to your own life. All right, man, introduce yourself.
Hey, what's going on, man? My name is Aing. It's Aing. I am half of Ramir Market. I partner with a lady out of Houston, Texas. We've been doing this about 3 years now. And we're just trying to present the best brands to Dallas, Texas, man, local brands.
Okay. So, how'd y'all get started doing that? How'd y'all link up?
It's actually someone I was dating uh, at the time that kind of pushed me into us making it a storefront because I had my brand already. I started my brand in '07,
Mm-hmm.
and then I stopped doing it for quite some time, man, for probably about 10 years.
Yeah.
I had stopped. And just recently, it's 4 years ago, I was releasing some new music and I had some merch to come along with it. And just the excitement for the merch that people had. And they was just like, man, this is, I know it's merch, but it looked pretty dope, man. Like, you got some
Okay.
designing
Yeah,
skill
yeah.
to you. And I was like, well, I actually had a brand, a while back, so it just kind of reignited those fires to, kind of get back into designing. And after that merch drop, I went ahead and released one of my old designs that I had just kind of sitting around on paper, and it took off immediately. So honestly, within about 2 to 3 weeks of me pressing up these couple of batches of those designs and just kind of letting it circulate for those 2 3 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
within that process, we were already in the store. It was just so much momentum to it that we just had to take it a step further. And like I say, without my partner, I probably wouldn't have did it as fast as I did. But she really pushed me to, kind of turn this into a full fledged business. And I'm glad we did because here we are, 3 years later, and we
Yeah, that's solid.
have almost 40 brands in our store.
Did life just get in the way for that 10-year gap, or was it like you didn't see the momentum at first, so you weren't sure if you should push it?
Nah, so actually, man, um, it was big. It had got like pretty big, man,
Mm,
and I was pretty popular already as a like a rapper,
mm-hmm.
and I was staying in Houston at the time, and I was just kind of saying to myself, like, am I more focused on music or am I more focused on designing and trying to have a brand or whatnot? And I was younger at the time, so not knowing, I mean, I kind of needed that capital to fund the other
Yeah.
part of my
Mm-hmm.
business. I was just more so, well, like, oh, you got the limelight of music, just stay doing your music. And I put it down and I let it fall to the wayside,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I wish I would have kind of kept them hand in hand though. It would have been a lot better for me, like progressing wise.
How'd you come up with the name?
So originally, when I first started my brand, RMIR, the eyeball is symbolic for actual like a letter I. So it's
Mm-hmm.
pronounced Ramir. Ramir Clothing, and then the store is Ramir Market. So originally, those letters were pretty much an acronym, and I just kind of don't promote what the acronym is just because originally it had a totally different energy to my brand,
Okay.
so
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of just use the word as it is
Yeah.
now, and
Mm-hmm.
it's its own thing now. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so how did you end up starting with adding more clothing brands to Ramir Market?
So that was a Dallas thing, man. So I made it out here to Dallas uh pre-pandemic, like right before the pandemic,
Okay, yeah.
and of course, like I say, I dove into music a lot deeper. So that's what actually brought me to Dallas. I moved to Dallas for my music career. I had gotten attention from like Epic, Universal, Def Jam. I was doing a lot of traveling to meet with these different labels and these
Hmm.
different A&Rs and promotional teams and groups and videographers and whatnot. And I just kind of uh dang, I kind of lost my space here. Which you originally asked me?
About how you got the other brands within the market.
Right. So just doing those things and moving around, I came into contact with a lot of brands, like a lot of people that were interested in a lot of great designers, a lot of people with different perspectives on how fashion is, you know.
Yeah.
So I I'm one of those people that I want to respect what you have without stealing, you know.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like I don't want to incorporate what you have into my brand, but I still respect what I see and I
Mm.
still like it, I still admire it. So not uh join forces?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Target, Walmart, Kroger, no matter what major chain it is, they don't sell just water or just uh
Or even just like
this
their own
brand
Walmart
or
or their
this,
own Target
yeah, their
stuff.
personal brand
Hmm.
is they outsource. So why can't we be like a black Target?
Hmm.
Just have a host of as many brands as we possibly can get into the store, and let's make these brands as big as Gucci or any other brand that you would admire these days.
Yeah, yeah. So you're showing love and building them up, and that
Right, right,
just flows together.
right.
What was the initial thing that like stood out to those brands? You're like, oh, okay, I need to add these to mine. Was it the way they created, or was it the drive?
Um, like I say, Dallas has a good culture for designers and fashion and stuff like that. So just the uniqueness of it, I guess.
Hmm.
I just really did find a fondness and an admiration for it. Like I wear a lot of these local brands. Today I have on all my brand, of course, just because we're in the spirit of doing this whole Ramir market interview. But any other day, man, you'll catch me in any one of those brands in my store, man. I just really actually like it.
Yeah, yeah. You're like,
Yeah,
oh, damn, these are all clean. So let me
yeah.
show them off.
Most definitely.
Hmm.
Yeah. And the people some of the people are real intricate with the store. Like they
Hmm.
actually are physically there often as me. So
Okay.
as much as I can get those type of brands to be a part of our process, the quicker it'll be, the easier it'll be for us to grow and become a household brand as a like a major market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does that work within like the store? Is it they have input in their area, or they give you their clothes and then you put them in like its own zone within?
So I pretty much man the store in its entirety.
Hmm.
So my partner, she does a lot of like keeping the books and inventory and stuff like that, which honestly without that, man, I'd probably be lost.
Oh
Cause
yeah.
it's so much stuff, man. So shouts out to her, man. She's really a major part of what we got going on, man. But um yeah.
Which stands out because like each person has their own skills. So when you have people who got their own skills with that, they can bring you up without you having to stress about those things you don't get. You
Def-
can learn from them.
Even in like I have a good 4 or 5 of the brands that are in the store that are making like major moves and major motions in the city or whatnot. Like my brand Flexibility. That's a brand by a guy. He goes by Flex. He's almost like a, I don't know, like a community leader. Like,
Okay.
so he does a lot actively within Dallas. He's putting on events and charity type things. It's shocked me probably about 6 months or so ago now, man. I was getting ready to do something, and I'm not into sports, so I don't watch like basketball, football, boxing, stuff like that.
Yeah, same here.
But I just so happened to be walking past the TV wherever I was, and here he go, like the guy that's Flex, that's one of my brands
Hmm.
in the store. He's handing Floyd Mayweather his belt in the ring. I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, I ain't even know he had that kind of connections or whatnot. That was
Hmm.
really dope.
Yeah.
And he do a lot of stuff like that. And that's that kind of stuff is key for us growing and moving faster. People having different connections and
Hmm.
different circles and different ways to interlock our brands to for us to grow together or whatnot.
Yeah, that makes sense. How do you go about finding like new local brands when you're doing that? When you're adding into the market?
For the most part, man, it's become easier to just kind of sit and let them fall into my lap.
Mhm.
Because with us being here now, going on a little over 3 years, brands walk into the door all the time, and they just intrigued. Because like part of my like rundown when people walk into the store is to mention that we are a host of local brands. So, man, at least once out of 5 times, somebody's gonna be like, I want to start my own brand, or I have
Mhm.
a brand, or
Yeah.
my brother got a brand, or so a lot of those connections come from just the excitement of our customers, and they just want to see uh, Derek because they know Derek so well. They just want
Mhm.
to see him in an actual storefront, so they can be like, "Hey, my boy Derek is over there in Redbird Mall, man."
Yeah, they get excited for it and they're coming through. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And we try to put on like little events for every time we get a new brand, just to highlight them being there and
Mhm.
kind of set the tone for our relationship moving forward.
What other events do y'all have?
Any.
Any? Yeah.
Yeah, man. We've had book signings, had a public speaker. I've had tasting a taste testing where a girl came in. She made all types of different like sweets and pastries and whatnot.
Mhm.
Video shoots. We've had toy drives. We had whole concerts in the store. So whatever we can actually manage to accommodate, we will. You
Okay.
know,
So does it even matter about cohesiveness, or is it more cohesive of Dallas itself? It's like creatives or things that are cool happening here.
Yeah, I just want it to be a platform for it to happen.
Mhm.
So it's more so like we want to be a blank canvas, and as long as we not, getting stuff all on the floor, then we can do
Mhm.
whatever on this canvas.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, as long as it's within, what the rules are for
Yeah.
where we
As long
are.
as it's within reason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
are in the mall.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What's the What are like a few of the coolest events y'all hosted there? Things you weren't expecting to put in the market.
Um, coolest, I would say, when we throw our own events,
Mhm.
because we are like I say, a space where we allow events to happen, so they happen often, but the ones that kind of stick around where people kind of bring it up, like, hey, you remember when da da da, those are usually our events. Like,
Okay.
so we did one for Valentine's Day, we did one for Halloween, and those two both are like memories in my head because I actually performed at the Valentine's Day event, which I've never done.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Any of my music type
Mhm.
stuff I don't associate with the store. So that was pretty cool. And then we do like T-shirts. If it's our event, we'll have like a commemorative T-shirt that'll go with the event.
Okay. Is
Yeah.
it that you don't want to push the music and like combine it with that? You want to keep it separate, so you try not to.
Yeah, I try to keep it separate. One, being that uh, I just wanted to have its own respective lane. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So I feel like in my artistry, like I said, I made it pretty far in my artistry. I got some major features. Devin the Dude, Scarface. Just did a concert with Erica Badu for her birthday. I've done some notable things. So
Mhm.
I want to be able to have that regard personally for my clothing. I want to be able to say like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I went to Gucci and I know the owners up there. They had me in this show, da 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 da. Da, but I don't have that kind of pull or those kind of connections in music. I mean, in the designing world yet. So
Mhm.
I really kind of want to grow those things without uh, kind of piggybacking off of music.
Okay.
You know,
Is it that the music has a different feel or meaning behind it, and
and
that's why?
and it doesn't have a different feel or meaning. It's I'm getting older,
Mhm.
but I've always been a person that's like had traditional value, and I've my music at times can be uh vulgar or kind of profane, and
Mhm.
so I don't want to, with my brand, I want it to be known for such a professionalism, like that's
Okay.
not,
Yeah. Mhm.
but then again, that's not to say that my music is just like I'm degrading women or
Mm-hmm.
doing bad stuff. It's just perspective in 2023, 2024. Like it's gonna be different by varying by person. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and
I
sometimes
don't.
people lose sight of that. They
Yeah.
don't really take the time to think about like this is this and this is that. They're like, no, this all means the same thing, or they kind of
Right.
corrupt it in their
Right.
own head.
Yeah. So I don't want it. I don't want somebody to see something I'm saying or doing and take it a certain way or take it too literally or and just try to condemn my brand for something that condemn my artistry for, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Especially being that secondly being that I have a partner, you know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's not just my business,
Mm-hmm.
Well, Ramir Clothing being 100% my business, but Ramir Market being a partnership that
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing with somebody, I have to be considerate
Yeah, that makes a
of
lot of sense.
them
Mm-hmm.
as well. Yeah, got to keep your partner happy.
Mm-hmm. Because either way, you want to be considerate to yourself, but especially if you're in a partnership, then that it matters even
Definitely.
more that you consider it to them. Yeah.
Right. And that shows a level of, trust and professionalism so that you and a partner or you and people watching your partnership can grow better
Mm-hmm.
relationships. Yeah. People
And,
see stuff like
oh
that.
yeah, and it builds trust. Like, oh, okay, I see. They see how you're moving, and that
Right.
makes it very clear how things stand.
Right.
So let's rewind a little bit.
Mm.
Take me back to like when you were first starting your clothing line, like the designs you were making. What were the ideas that were going through your head?
So, um, people say things are like timeless, often and more often than not, they aren't. But this was one of those things that was just so happened I feel like to be kind of timeless, man.
Mm,
So my brand, Ramir, like I said, I started this 10 years plus back, and I drew a couple of actual characters and like stuff that kind of went with me expanding past my original first design that I released, because I only had did one type of shirt like back then, but
mm-hmm.
I probably had to sold like anywhere from 5 to 700 of these shirts, like in like 3 or 4 months,
Oh wow, yeah.
So I was like,
And just to be clear, that was like when you were first starting out.
right, right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I was like, man, uh, that's cool, but it was words on the shirt. It wasn't no design. It wasn't nothing intricate, nothing that somebody can relate to a brand for real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just like a phrase. So I started just I don't even know why I came up with this whole eyeball thing or nothing, man. I'm pretty sure 10 years ago, I probably 15 now, going on something like 15 now. I probably knew then like where that idea came from, but I don't even remember where. I just kind of drew out a couple characters,
Mm-hmm.
left them on paper for 10 years, and then came back to it and was like, well, let's see the next step if we ready for this next step. And when I put it on the clothes, people like really took to it. So I guess it was still,
Yeah. Yeah. It
relevant.
resonated.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's still what I'm on now.
What
I
was that first phrase?
That's why I say I had separated it,
Oh
but
yeah.
yeah, but I'll say what it
Mhm.
is. But it was originally it said "Rob me, I'm rich." You know, so I didn't want to create that narrative.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for real, because especially being that I did music, it was funny to me. It's like, hey, rob me, I'm rich is like a Scrooge McDuck type thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
nothing to be taken literal or serious or whatnot. But I grew up on North Side, Houston, Texas. I'm from Homestead. That's like one of the more notorious neighborhoods in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
So with just the environment that the shirt was bred in, whether I meant it light or not, they was on some like rob me on rich, like, yeah, this the new hood shirt. Like
Mm-hmm.
everybody in the hood rocking these shirts, like da da da. And I'm like, well, I didn't want it to be a hood thing. Like, I just wanted to make a couple dollars.
Yeah.
So yeah. That's how I think there's more so of why I let it go.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't want it started becoming something I didn't want it to be.
You wanted to transition into something else.
Yeah.
What do you think it's transitioned to now over this time?
Oh man, I really, really see myself being uh a familiar brand like my brand is so different. So mainly, I mean, being mindful that my brand is it's based off of kind of like a story, but
Hmm.
it's like a comic book, right? But on clothes. So you're finding out the story by buying the collection. So you end up buying a shirt here, a hat here, pants here. Over time, you start just kind of looking at your pieces you got, and you're like, well, this kind of is relative. Like, okay, this shirt kind of have something to do with this. This kind of go with that, but I don't necessarily always drop them as collections together. So the more you buy over time, you start unfolding the story of what's going on.
So each piece is like an issue of that comic, basically.
Right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, that's um mainly what I've been focused on is getting these pieces out or whatnot. But what I'm kind of going to be transitioning to is like branding these things. Trying to make the actual comic. Even though, like I say, you're gonna put the story together as you buy the clothes. I want to actually make like a comic to help the marketing.
Hmm.
People are really really into your story. You know
Oh
what I'm
yeah.
saying? So
Hmm.
when I actually do, because I this gets intricate, bro. This is like Lord of the Rings,
Oh dang.
Harry Potter. Something that's gonna have some real umph to it. Like I can release this in volumes.
Yeah.
So
So what would be like a little sneak peek of what if you say I grabbed 5, 6 pieces and I was looking into it? What would be like a little peek of that story?
so right now it's more widespread.
Hmm.
It's more say if Lord of the Rings, I think they got like what 6, 7 different Lord of the Rings or whatnot. So
Hmm.
what I'm doing at this point is I'm not staying in one series. I'm kind of like skipping here, 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 whatever I feel looks good on clothes. I'm kind of
Hmm.
releasing, but it's not from the same series. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be like
It's like
uh
one book of this series and
yeah,
one book of the next one, and they're connected, but they're also their own thing.
right.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna get more into kind of zoning in on specific stories here coming in this coming year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go. What are some of the standout pieces for you?
This is like one of my favorites, man. Like I I make mainstream pieces,
Hmm.
for everybody that I'm gonna make in bulk or whatnot. But I also make just intricate, unique something, just things for myself or even for other people as well. I try to usually buy something that's not my size so that I don't end up trying to keep it whenever I make it. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So this was one of those pieces, man. I just was trying something on, and I really like the way that it ended up coming out. So this hoodie is definitely one of those, and it got a bit of different parts of the story as well, like these little balloons here. This is relative to one of the characters that's on the in the comic. His name is C. It's pronounced C, but it's spelled Pse. So he's like the son of the main character, which is his name is Ozark.
Hmm.
So the balloons are like his comfort blanket.
Oh,
He's
okay.
always walking around with these little balloons, and his favorite thing is to try to get people to hide all the time because he's like really scary. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? So anytime you see the balloons, it's almost symbolic of we need to hide.
Hmm.
So
Oh wow.
yeah. Yeah.
So when you start a piece like this, do you sketch it out? Or do you have like a general idea already in your head, and then you go from there? Or
I try not to have a formula for it. That way, my mind can take uh direction or motivation from anything.
hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, but one of my biggest things, and I told her this before, but my partner, like, she will ask questions like out of curiosity about the brand, just like, well, okay, yeah, you say this guy's this. What kind of stuff he be wearing? or like what kind of environment does he live in, or like what's the weather like there? Those kind of questions
Hmm.
create scenarios in my head to draw out. Like,
Oh, that's clean. Yeah.
yeah, like what would he be doing today?
So
Like what
it gets you
like
started on a new route, basically.
right. Yeah, man. So that she helps me fill in a lot of my story by, doing stuff like that. And customers as well, just by their curiosities.
When you're creating pieces like this, what's a story you fell in love with or an element that you fall in love with recently as you're making these pieces when people are being curious?
Um the part of tying things together. So out of curiosity of just what is this, what is that, it's rewarding and fulfilling to me just to kind of write one and then skip two, write three, here's four and five, and then maybe I'll get all the way down to nine. But out of the questions and curiosity from other people, I'm filling in those gaps. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying?
okay.
So that's kind of like a major part of creating for me. Just the fulfillment of that. It helps me to keep going and come up with even more stuff.
So it's like, oh, I have this part of the story. Oh, that's clean. Let me do this part next, and then you can come back whenever you want
Right.
and fill in those gaps.
I even make a lot of the characters and a lot of the side story that way. And it's just sometimes I'll write a scenario of something and it doesn't go anywhere in the story. I just put it in my, little notes or whatnot. And then before you know it, I'm writing something and it just fits there. It's
Hmm.
just like, oh, well, yeah, that's why that happened, even though you wrote why it happened first. But you know what I'm saying? It's just coming together that way. Yeah.
How do you decide what elements of those when you have that story in your head? How do you decide which elements to put on the clothing? Is it just like, oh,
Mm.
this seems like it fits this character, or this fits the clothing itself?
So with it gets intricate, bro. Like I've almost have like a umbrella of the story happening, which I wish I had like this big board, right? So that I can really make an umbrella and
Like
kind
have
of
like the
put
red lines connected.
yeah, man. But I'm really working off my note in my
Hmm.
on my iPhone. So uh I need like a better system. And I one reason I haven't did that though, because I don't want the story to unfold too fast.
Hmm.
I like the allure of, just coming up with it on the fly, or just as it comes to me, just recording it. You know what I'm saying? So
That
yeah.
way, it's more natural. It's flowing instead
Yeah.
of being forced.
Right. I don't
Hmm.
want it to be forced put together or just wrote, just this made sense, so that's why this is this. Like, no,
Hmm.
I want it to resonate. Like, I want it to be believable, and I want people to be able to relate to the characters for real. So to do that, it takes that slower process, in my opinion.
How do you keep that balance of this is interesting to me, and I know it'll be interesting to others, or just I love this, so people will most likely love this when you're creating the story and the clothes themselves.
I think that I was just blessed with a talent of how would I say, just relativeness, I
Hmm.
guess. Like I'm even in my music, man, when I go to record things, I try not to think of the perspective of other people. I just kind of try to think of what it is that I'm trying to say, or what it is that I'm trying to achieve in what I'm doing in that moment. Now, after I'm finished, I might, judge myself or have an opinion about it or whatnot. But in the process, I just kind of like to create for real
Yeah.
and get my message up, put my point out.
So it's basically relatable because it is just you. It's whatever you're feeling in that moment when you're making the music. It's whatever you're feeling or thinking of the story when you're creating the line.
Right.
So like when
And
it's
it
real, it resonates.
and it's these characters are so like I said, I'm a very traditional type of man, you know what I'm saying? So I think of things in like I wish I think I was born in the wrong time period. Like I would have much rather been like a king or a soldier or something like that.
Mm,
You know how a man kind of say, "I don't steal," and
yeah.
then it's like, "Oh, he don't steal.
Hmm.
He said he didn't steal. That's
Yeah.
his word.
Hmm.
Like they live by their word.
Yeah.
Like
Your word is supposed to be your bond.
yeah. So and nowadays nobody couldn't tell you they didn't steal. You just be like, all right, bro, you never stole nothing ever
Yeah.
before. Like, come on, man. But I feel like this story, they have those type of values. So when they say something, they mean it. If
Hmm.
it's a law, it's a law. Like if it's a tradition or a way that they move, that's the way that they move. So
There's
it's
no doubt in your mind when they say it, and they mean it.
and they mean it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I feel like that's why I say I feel like I was born in the wrong. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that, man. Like even when I watch, I'm a big movie buff. Like for real, for real. That's why I even kind of tried to relate it to like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter.
Hmm.
So and those are the type of movies I like. Old school war movies, like set in like the 1200s, and kings, queens. And I like a lot of sci-fi too. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
can have a dragon or two. I ain't tripping.
Yeah. I think I lean towards fantasy and sci-fi, but I do like, what do you call it? It's the like fictional, like historical fiction, where it's kind of like the Last Kingdom. It's based off something that's real,
Mm-hmm.
but they add like a little because they don't know
Nah, yeah.
everything that happened, but
Nah,
they.
yeah, yeah. I
Hmm.
like that as well.
Yeah.
Like Spartacus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm thinking like Spartacus, The Last Kingdom, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where
You like Spartacus?
yeah,
Yeah,
hmm
that was my jam right there, man. I hated that when the season started, they had one guy and he ended up dying in real life on like episode 5 or 6, and they
hmm
had to switch him for a new Spartacus. And he was still cool, like, but the first Spartacus,
yeah,
bruh, he was the truth. He was the truth.
yeah. There's like certain characters where you hit gold, and
Yeah.
sometimes they got to work with whatever they got after that.
Oh
So
yeah.
they did that in Batman too with what was it,
Oh
Katie
yeah.
Holmes, where
Uh,
like she just disappeared later. You're like, wait, who's this new chick in the second movie?
I ain't recognize that.
Yeah,
I realized that.
the what was it, Batman's love interest. They
Okay.
had a new one in the second movie. You're like, oh, okay, I
But
guess.
wasn't Batman different too though?
Not in the Dark Knight, but they switched it again. They
Yeah.
always switch that. But
Him and Spider Man, they can't find the just one.
hmm but even then, it's like that's a problem with when you have like these movies because they're gonna age out eventually. So
Yeah.
you got like 6 movies with them, and then so that dude's
Every,
like 50.
everybody but James Bond. He's been in all. He just keep coming back. Nah, yeah, man.
when you're, how would you recommend people who are just starting out with like making their own brands? I know you mentioned people coming in say, "Oh, I want to start my own line." Where do you think they should start if they have ideas? Just make one piece, make a few pieces, and show them. See if people are feeling it, or where do you start?
I feel like so it's different, depending on what kind of local brand you aspire to be,
Hmm.
because um, I had a guy come in yesterday, which he's been in before, and he showed me his brand, and we talked about it or whatnot, and it just kind of got him excited about just really bringing this into fruition or whatnot. But he doesn't get it made like he physically paints his shirts.
Ah,
You know what I'm
okay.
saying? So it depends on kind of what you're doing. But with him, uh, just finish what you're working on, and don't try to harp on how it's gonna
How's it
how it's
gonna
all
work?
gonna all work.
Hmm.
Yeah, just kind of finish your projects, because as long as you really finish about 5 pieces, you
Hmm.
can start your brand.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because 5 T-shirts is enough to have 5 people wear. Like,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? So, but I can understand when you're intricate in the detail, and you know what I'm saying, like especially if you're painting or drawing it or whatever it is that you're doing to produce the product or whatnot. It's just getting it done, man, so that people can see the product. The
Yeah,
main
because
point.
that's two different lanes. So say you're creating your pieces. If you're going like you said with that, where it's you're painting it, you'd still say five. It-
No, yeah. Either way, I say five.
okay.
As long as, because coming to Ramir Market, we don't want to uh hoard your inventory.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So now if you have a just like a plethora of product, cool.
Yeah.
We'll house it or whatnot, and we'll put it on the floor as needed if it's selling like that, you know. But if you don't have that much inventory or whatnot, it's better for us because we want to start off light.
Hmm.
We want to have like anywhere from 5 to 12 pieces or so, just so people can become familiar with it being in the store, and it's enough to fill up like a good little portion
Then
or
they'll start
whatnot.
asking about it. Then you can say, hey, okay, people have shown interest in yours or this piece or that piece.
Yeah.
Can you make some more of that for us?
And sometimes if say they do start out with just 5 pieces and all 5 of those pieces sell that first month, usually that puts the steam under the brand to be like, oh, I need to produce more. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
dang, if I would have just made 5 a long time ago, I could have been had the ball rolling. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So it's just really about making those first couple of pieces and getting them to where they could be sold, whether
Yeah.
they're selling or not.
That way, that is the fuel, and they're like, okay,
Right.
that's
In my opinion.
yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense because I mean, I've seen people who they're in that what do you call it? It's the you keep on thinking, keep on talking about it, but you're not
Right.
moving.
It
The planning phase.
I feel like those are usually people who have failed at something that they really had their heart set on, and
Hmm.
now
They're
they're
afraid.
skeptical. Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's like really they just need somebody like me in their ear that's gonna push them to produce.
Yeah, so make moves.
Yeah. And a lot of times when I bring it up, well, when somebody bring it up and they get to talking to me about their brand, if they have somebody with them, usually that somebody know all about their brand.
Hmm.
So it's like that could have been your first customer already. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just even if it's that, like you don't necessarily even have to sell your brand to start. Like if you have a little free capital and you can print up 20 shirts, and you know you have 20 popular friends or just people who are active DJs, videographers, entertainers, and you could just give it to them and it
Hmm.
won't hurt you financially. That's actually the best way to kind of start promoting and marketing your brand.
Yeah.
Because the more people see it, then it becomes uh, a norm. It's like now I don't have to be like, am I gonna be the first person to put this on? I see people wearing it now. I just feel comfortable enough to wear it because people doing it. You know, so it's like a monkey see, monkey do sometimes with certain things.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me of a book. It's called 100 Fans, where it basically talked about all you really need is like 100 true fans, and then you're
Oh yeah,
yeah.
bro.
And people harp on like you got to make it bigger, you got to do this, but as long as
Nah,
you work on your craft and keep on creating or working, people will see it, and if they love it, they love it. And all you need is those people who love your stuff to keep on pushing it out there.
it's about a lot of time if you got like a brand manager or just a good manager who has that type of insight, you're gonna always be able to capitalize off your whatever your product is. Because like you say, 100 fans. Think about all of the artists that we grew up on that we haven't heard from or seen or nothing like that, but turns out they're still doing great.
Yeah, they're still
It's
a lot
like,
of them are still making bank.
yeah, and why? Because they got probably 500 fans,
Hmm.
and it probably ain't even as the thousands that you see, you know, supporting this, that, or the other person. But them 500 fans probably committing to anywhere from $10 to $100 a month doing something with this artist.
Hmm.
Now, if they consistently doing that, that's how I don't know how much money like
Yeah,
every
but it's
month that
it's
starts
consistent
rolling
income.
in. Yeah, that's consistent income,
And you
man.
got some bands where you people say, "Oh, like they fell off," but like you said, that they're still moving,
Mhm.
and they got like 20 people who will follow them everywhere, go to every single
Every
concert.
single
Then like
concert.
each city, they got like 50 to 100 people. Like there was, oh my gosh, this person I love is here again, I'm
Yep,
going again.
yep,
And then every time they come, those people keep on coming back.
yeah. And then imagine if you're not even charging like the 50, I mean not the 50, but like the $5, $10 prices, and you are charging like 50, $100. You got those kind of fans, man. Those people are really making bank because they're selling the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that was Chris Brown that had it. Like it was like, what was it,
It's
like
like
five
it
thousand
was like yeah, it was
dollars
like 1,000, 5,000 just to meet up with them and take a picture and like chat
Yeah,
for like a second.
selling the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, you could do that and come out crazy, man. Like, well, you can make more than you made to get. You probably got paid to come do a show, but
Mm-hmm.
then you did a fan experience and quadruples your money, possibly.
Yeah, they have stuff
Mm,
like that at was it like Comic Con where you got like the voice actors, the actors will
right.
come through, sign your photo, take a photo with you.
Yeah.
And what was it? What's his name? The dude who plays Aquaman.
I know
He
who you talking about.
yeah, yeah. He'd like take like cute photos with the couples, like have one of them like push down or like something goofy, just
Yeah.
doing weird stuff, and they're living the life,
And
they're enjoying it.
they paying for they love Aquaman, so
Yeah,
they
yeah.
just paying.
Hmm.
Yeah. Right on.
How would you say you've made those 5 pieces? You're going through it. You know that you've made something. You finally started moving. How do you market yourself? Do you
Um,
look for someone local? Do you just show those pieces online or?
I think you want to try to be respectful to what it is
Hmm.
and like what kind of image your product has. Like, um, if you have, like, I got one of my brands. He's pretty active on every field there is to be in clothing. So like he got like exercise clothes, sleepwear, jackets, pants, whatever, whatever. So depending on the product. So like like I mentioned, he has exercise wear. I think you would want to find a couple of Instagram type models,
Hmm.
possibly an influencer or two that's actively working out, or in some maybe even somebody that's just a regular. Because honestly, in my opinion, it's better when a person is not an influencer
Hmm.
or when they're not this, that, or the other. But initially, a lot of times that's what grabs like the bulk of people to start paying attention.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, myself included, I like when it's a regular person because it's more believable to
Hmm.
buy into the product. So it's like getting that exercise equipment to a regular household mom that's exercising, but she going live every morning and it's 50 people joining in with her on her live, and now she's doing this consistently enough in your product to where they're like, well, what is that you be wearing or
Hmm.
whatnot? You know what I'm saying? So just really kind of finding the pocket of what your product fits into and then pushing it in there, really, I think is, gonna be effective.
Yeah, 'cause if it's you can tell the difference between like someone pushing it and someone who really likes it.
Right.
So even if it's that small person you mentioned, like who's just
More
enjoying it,
appreciative.
they're appreciative.
Yeah.
But even if you have an influencer who actually likes it, and that's like
Yeah,
basically
and you
source
could
for
tell
that.
that energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you definitely could tell that energy. When somebody got paid to do something and when somebody like, nah, this is
This is
hard.
clean.
I like
Yeah,
this. Yeah.
yeah.
All right on. Mm.
What is it about that where it's just so obvious the difference? You think it's is it the joy or is it like you said the appreciative nature of it?
Um I think you just it's a deeper excitement for something that you actually like. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But then again, like people are so different. Some people are more excited about getting paid. And
Yeah.
so- how much you said they said? Oh yeah, I love this, man. This is great.
This is amazing.
This is amazing.
Let me show my joy.
Right,
Yeah,
so it's different ways to motivate people, man. Hey,
yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, whatever works.
Yeah, whatever works, man. So that's why I say if you got the right brand manager or the right person who can look at stuff and see it like that, they can always capitalize off of, the best way to get something done. Because
Mm,
that's why I don't try to make a formula for how I do something. So that way when I'm presented with a problem, I can fix it with a rock if I can fix it with a rock. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Yeah. But if I'm a person that's starting off with okay, this is how I attack the problem, it's not gonna have a rock in that in
Hmm.
that formula. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I like to keep an open mind.
For you, like you said, like you're using the rock, not using the rock. How do you problem solve for your clothing brand and as the market itself? What are y'all?
So one, I realized like how you asked earlier, how do I make stuff relatable to the person that's actually gonna be buying it, but something I still like, So I I try. Man, I think I got lost in what I was saying again. So ask the question. What you say again?
How do you problem solve for the clothing brand and for the event itself? And you were going on about relatability.
So how the problems on for the clothes and then for separately for the market.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I think I just kind of the same way. I just
Hmm.
look at the process in the same way as far as not trying to start with a specific formula for it, but being considerate of whatever the factors are involved in the situation. Whatever makes sense to get the problem fixed, and
Hmm.
it's not going to make any more damage or worsen the
Yeah,
situation.
yeah.
Yeah,
Basically making smart moves.
right.
Don't think too hard about it.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what we talking about, but yeah, for the most part, yeah.
What clothing brands in your market itself have you been excited for recently? Where you've seen something come up, and you're like, oh, that's unique, or that's clean.
So I got a brand called K9, the brand, and this guy, it's probably like 2021 now. I think when we first got his brand, he was like 19. So he makes all of his stuff from scratch. Like he get the fabric, he sew it together, he drawing it out, he cutting, sewing, every single part of it he making.
Oh, dang,
So whatever I get when it comes in
that's
in
handmade.
that box, man, I'm always excited to get
Hmm.
it because bro be going crazy, man. So shout out to K9 the brand, man. He really keeps me excited.
Hmm.
And I got another brand called My Society, which he is one of those brands that does a lot of variations of different colorways and different styles as well. But he's one of those brands that works overseas. Like he'll have people manufacture it, overseas, like in
Hmm.
Pakistan or whatnot.
Yeah.
So his is usually full production. So that's what I like about his brand. It's very intricate. Like it
Mm.
got extra pockets and zippers and all kind of logos and colors and stuff like that. So yeah, I think those are two of, and my newest brand. Now, don't scold me if I end up saying this wrong. I think you say it Amir Vivri, possibly, possibly. But his brand is real intricate as well. But what's unique about him, he is a manufacturer. Like he
Oh, okay.
owns a
Yeah.
manufacturing place. So
Hmm.
just making all these other people's stuff, I was like, I'm gonna make my own stuff. But he killed it.
Oh,
He
dang.
he
Hmm.
killed it, bro. Like
What about his stood out?
so he does a lot of sets. So he has like the jogger, the shirt, and the sweater in a set. And they have all the same energy, but you can wear them individually as well. And
Okay.
his quality is really good. And uh, what stood out to me at first, and I couldn't put a finger on it, and then I had two customers come in on two separate days and say the same thing. And I was like, bro, this kind of remind me of Ed Hardy. So Ed Hardy was like one of those brands that was real popular. Like
Hmm.
everybody liked Ed Hardy, but it for whatever reason it just vanished off the face of the earth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but it seemed like it had its moment, and it almost became oversaturated to where maybe the wrong people got a hold of it.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, they started selling it in too many of the places that culturally we didn't respect.
Yeah, and so
So
everyone thought of those people when they were wearing it.
yeah,
Oh, no, I'm
like
not feeling that anymore.
they selling
Uh,
that in like Kmart or something. Like yeah, we ain't wearing it no more.
'Cause I
Like
actually found like one of those pieces in a thrift store somewhere. I was like, oh, like
yeah,
now that it's phased out again.
yeah,
grab that shit
Let me
real
get
quick.
yeah.
So now I just want a
I,
jacket in my
I
closet.
like that Hardy,
Yeah.
bro. And
Hmm.
I'm one of those people like I'm gonna wear what I'm gonna wear. Like I
Hmm.
had an Ed Hardy shirt, probably going on like 6 or 7 years ago now. But I was still wearing that.
Hmm.
As a matter of fact, I got an Ed Hardy shirt at home right now in the closet that I'm still actively wearing. I love it. I love the shirt. I got so much clothes, man.
Yeah, same here.
If I
Those things come in waves though.
yeah,
Like certain
no,
things,
definitely.
you like certain trends, certain things where everyone loves it, and then all of a sudden no one's feeling it, but then some
Mm-hmm.
people still, like, I'm rocking it, you know.
Yeah.
So
All right on.
I think with that, I want to end with this. For you, what are you excited for this new year, and like what events do you have coming up?
Going into 2024, we are so my ultimate goal for Ramir Market for my partner and I both are to become this major entity for real. Like
Hmm.
we want to be Target and we want to house brands that are all popular, not like brands that we trying to build up. Like
Yeah.
we've built them up, you know what I'm saying? So going into 2024, our goal is like transitioning from local brands to local designer. So it's
Okay.
like, dang, look at that they got in the store. Not just like, oh, is this one of local brand that you know trying to da da da. Like, no, this is something that's gonna hit you over the head over time every time when you see it. Like, I want every brand, every product in there to be my favorite brand.
Yeah.
So for 2024, our focus is building better relationships with these brands and pushing them to go more that route and giving them insight as to how if they don't know how, because a lot of these brands are starting out or a lot of them are unsure of themselves or they're not as passionate about it. But I feel like going into 2024 we want to work a lot closer with these brands to pull out what we see they have as potential.
So would from that goal, would it be to transition to opening another market, or having the same market but having it be the brands you love and then like some stuff that you love that is local?
No, it will be the same market.
Hmm.
It's not us transitioning out of the brands that we have. It's those brands transitioning and growing. So
Okay.
I want instead of them sending me T-shirts or something simpler on the T-shirt, I want the T-shirt to be more detailed. I
Hmm.
want it to possibly be manufactured. I want it to just better quality.
Yeah.
Something that I can sell to somebody for $100. But of course, we're gonna try to keep it reasonable or
Yeah.
whatnot. But yeah,
So
just
build
bring
up
them
all those within
right,
the market. Got you.
right.
Okay. And with that, uh, tell them your socials.
RMIR clothing, Ramir clothing. That is my personal brand page, and then RMIR market. That is our store page where we host all of our brands. Man, we're trying to grow both of these social media pages. So do follow us.
All right. And with that, I think for next Sunday I'm gonna do a solo episode, just like a summary of everything everyone said throughout these last few months, what I've learned from them, things you can like take apart. Like, okay, that's something cool I can bring into my own life. And with that, take care and remember, acting's over words.